we're going to add a new step, and that new step may be, let's send an email. So I'm going to alert my manager. And I'm going to create a new email message, and I'm going to set the properties for it. Now, this is the blank default template for the email, and it's going to come from the opportunity created by. I'm going to say it's modified by, so I'm over on the form assistance on the right side saying, who is this email going to come from? Well, I'm the one that just updated the opportunity. It may not be me, it may be someone else, but I'm going to make that person the one that's going to do the from. So it may be my assistant, it may be someone else. They've updated it, but they're going to alert someone else. And who is it going to go to? So I can say the opportunity owner, I can say the opportunity created by, I can do all of these different things, the originating lead, and I can say, here we go, opportunity owner is going to get this email, and it's going to say opportunity value exceeds 300K. And I can go in and put a number of other dynamic fields in here. So where you see it as yellow, those are dynamic fields. Anywhere where it's not yellow, it's hard-coded. And I've got the ability to set dynamic values by selecting where I want it to be. And I can come over here and I can select and add them. So here's all the fields, and I can say the estimated revenue, and I'll add it here. And I click OK. And that's going to be a dynamic field. So I'll type in what that's going to say. Estimated revenue is, and then that field to be automatically populated. Who's going to own this record? Again, I can make that a dynamic field. I can say created by, modified owner. I can actually hard code this, and I can say, well, I want the owner of this to be the CRM user, anybody I want specifically, the system administrator. I'm going to say I'm the owner of this record. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save and close. So there we go. I've got a workflow that's going to fire when the estimated revenue exceeds $300,000.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, and these get really complex. I mean, I just did a real quick and easy one. We can go do, we've seen workflows that are, hundreds of steps that take a year to execute. That's certainly a possibility. We've also, got the ability to add any of these steps in here. So I said, hey, let's do a check condition because I wanted to check and see if the revenue exceeded $300,000. I've also got the ability to put in a wait condition. So I can say, wait 3 days until something happens and then fire. I can go ahead and create a new record. So if the revenue comes in even higher, I can create a new opportunity and spawn that one off. I can send the email like I did. I can start a child workflow. I can update a record. I can do a number of different things with it. The stage one here was the only thing I didn't add to this workflow, but the stage really is where we get into defining the stages or the phase of our sales process. And if we're able to actually segment our sales process from, and I'll just do it very easily, and I'll just say, hey, it's qualification, it's committal, and it's close. So that's a 3-stage process. What we would do is we would take the stage and we would add the stage directly in here. And once we add the stage, I can say, all right, this is going to be the qualification. And then this is going to be the commit. And then I would add another stage that would be the close. And what I'm able to do when I add these phases, I'm able to report on them. So my workflow could be spinning around in here while it's waiting for something or while it's checking for something, and I can come back to my system and I can say, give me every opportunity that I have in the organization that is going to close in the next 30 days that is stuck in qualification, because I want to get them out of qualification into commit. So when we add our phases, we get the ability to report on it.
Huh.
So hopefully that's a high-level introduction to the workflow and some of the ability or the capability around it, but I think it's probably hopefully enough to get excited and to see some of the potential about it.
I have a real quick question. When you import a lead from the lead landing page, can you create a workflow that would automatically send out an email to the recipient that we received your request for information and we look forward to getting back to you in the next day or two, something like that?
Absolutely.
Does it just give you a to-do of send an email?
No, it would, in the one I just created, it would actually send that email. What you just described would be almost identical to this, except I have this running, like I said, when the record attribute changes. So when I look for the estimated revenue, instead we would write that workflow on the lead entity, and we would say record on created. So when the record gets created, what do we want to do? We want to add a step, which is going to be, go over here so we can add a step. We want to add a step that's going to be send email. So every time a new lead comes in,
and generate the email. You don't have to do a thing, and it's not just a to the activity list. It's going to be sent and just recorded as sent.
That's exactly right. The email will automatically be sent. It'll show up in the history of the lead that we sent an email, and you can expand that workflow to say, hey, the email has gone out, and in the email body it says, thank you for the lead. We recognize that you've come in and you're interested in our products. A salesperson will call you within the next 3 days. And you can enforce that business process by adding to the workflow here and saying, hey, let's go ahead and create a new record and assign that to a salesperson or organization with a due date within 3 days. So we've now alerted the customer that we've received their information and we're going to contact them. And through the same workflow, we're assigning an activity to someone that's actually going to enforce that process. They're going to follow up and call within 3 days.
Sweet. Okay.
And I have one question quick, too. Can it differentiate between leads created from the landing page rather than ones that you enter on your own?
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to look at the attribute for it. You're going to look at the attribute, and you're going to do a check on it. So, like I went in here and I did a check for revenue. You would check on the from the landing page source, and then it would you could have a branch on what it would do. And this handles branching. I didn't really get into branching. That's a little bit more of a sophisticated workflow. But we're able to put in conditional branching and action. So we could say if this, then do this, or else do that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, great. I think we hit all the points. I'm going to come back to my slide here, and we'll go ahead and close it out. I wanted to thank everybody for attending. We have another webinar scheduled for April 15th, Tax Day. I think everybody will be interested in attending a webinar instead of thinking about their taxes. We tentatively have ExpertLogix attending, and it's pertinent to the conversation today to mention what ExpertLogix is. ExpertLogix is a quoting tool that's built directly within CRM. And so I walked through the quoting that we saw on the sales side of it here, and I showed a little bit how to create a quote, and I talked about the concept of adding products. They take the existing form, and they have a custom interface that's built in that's designed to be a very friendly, very easy-to-use interface. You're able to see your products. You're able to select them. It's got rules built directly into the interface that will say if they select bicycle that's red, they need to have helmet that's red. You can add all of these parts as part of the quoting tool within ExpertLogix. And additionally, the best part about ExpertLogix, in my opinion, is that when you design all of these rules for quoting, you're able to take that entire ability and push it out to the website. So you built it all within CRM for your internal sales force, but then you put it out to your e-commerce page, and you've got one source of master data for quoting that is enforced across the organization. And we're going to show how you can work with that, and they're going to come in and do a little presentation for us. So we hope everybody can attend, and then obviously we've got SharePoint, and then an SAP and a customization overview thereafter. So about 10 minutes of your time back. Again, thank you everybody for attending, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.